Hey, all right. Hey guys, it's Thursday night. That's a game design evening, so we're gonna work on some 5e game mechanics for a couple of supplements that we're gonna be publishing on the DMsGuild. So give me a second here. I'm gonna check in on my signal first. We're gonna be working on Bastions today, and making decisions and consequences for our characters when they have Bastions, including settlements, armies. Fleets, etc. So checking my signal here real quick. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Fleets, etc. So checking my signal here real quick. Mic check, seems like I've got a signal that's coming through okay. I'm going to drop that volume down so it doesn't intrude upon us. And I'm going to grab the link here. I've got a couple social media posts I need to hit before we can dive into this. So give me a second while I press some buttons. I'll try to entertain you with my origin story in the meantime. So, hey, my name's Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been building content on the DMsGuild since 2018. And so we do artwork Monday through Friday in the morning, and we do game design Mondays and Thursday nights like this. We also do game design and character options on Tuesdays and Friday lunches. So I'll be back online tomorrow morning and tomorrow lunch to be doing more work. But tonight we're focusing specifically on Bastion campaigns. I've just finished all my social media postings, so let me fix my screens here. The Bastion campaign document, it's a playtest document that's located here. It's read-only, so you guys can watch the production, and this is far from a final copy, but basically we convert we convert Bastions into a 5-tier system that you can start with as immediately as first level. And to gain ranks, ranks don't gain automatically in a Bastion as your character gains level. Instead, the Bastion is a separate entity from the characters in the campaign. And kind of like a character, Bastion has 5 steps in which it increases proficiency bonus to be able to perform skill checks that it needs for the hirelings within the Bastion to carry out orders that the characters or whomever is in command of the Bastion issue orders to the hirelings inside the Bastion. So when you're issued an order, it generates an ability check or a skill test, as it were, that your characters can be involved in and gain bonuses from hirelings and the facilities within your Bastion. Or if the character's already occupied in downtime activities or isn't even at the Bastion, out abroad doing adventuring, you can issue the order to the Bastion itself to then use its own proficiency modifier and abilities and bonuses to perform that task without the characters around. So if your characters are in the Bastion doing downtime activities, the chances of success drastically increase. Without the characters around, your Bastion can do a lot more, and even while your character's in, you're only doing one thing at a time in your Bastion as a character, but the Bastion with multiple facilities can be issued multiple orders that are capable of fulfilling carrying out all sorts of orders that you could issue. So there's success and failure. If you succeed at the check and things happen the way that you expect them to, sometimes it takes a number of Bastion turns to complete the task. Sometimes it gets done immediately and there you go. It's just if you fail the ability check, it creates a complication that is preventing you from completing the task until the complication is resolved. The reason it's called a Bastion campaign is because each time a complication occurs, you can either issue additional orders like a skill challenge for your Bastion to try to solve the problem that got created themselves, or it becomes an adventure that your characters then go on, and at the end of the adventure, the complication resolves on top of everything else that your character would do as an event, like you get magic equipment, make new friends, character development, and story depth, whatever. All the things that would go into it. And a Bastion turn is 1 week. So a Bastion campaign structure is that each week you're issuing orders to your Bastion to do whatever it is that you want. And as complications arise from those orders that are issued, the players then decide which of those complications do we want to send characters out to solve personally, and which of these things are we not interested in, and then just relegate to the Bastion to resolve itself. If your players have other ideas, like none of these missions are interesting, but we did want to go fight those kobolds over there, so we're taking off, you guys fix all your own problems, and we'll be back. And that triggers another cascade of ability checks to resolve the complications that were created inside the Bastion. And if all those complications get resolved, then you carry on with the task as intended without any new complications. If the order requires multiple Bastion turns to complete, each Bastion turn there's a potential chance of additional complications arising, making repeated ability checks each turn. You can lock a result in for the duration of a project, but it's going to cost you Bastion points. So as you gain ranks in the Bastion, you're doing so by purchasing additional resources and space and facilities and hiring more people, and this all converts into Bastion points. So as soon as you have one Bastion point, you have a first rank Bastion, like a shoe shop with like 1 point in workshops. You can make shoes and shit. But as you gain more points, your Bastion gains ranks, and this corresponds with the ranks of proficiency that your character gets as you get up. So it's like level 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 is the effective character level that your Bastion ranks up to as it accumulates more Bastion points. These Bastion points are not only used to determine the rank of the Bastion in general, and therefore the maximum rank of facilities that you can install, but it also, you spend those points to either create, like if you have like say 6 points, you could put 6 separate facilities all at first rank inside of your Bastion, but now all 6 of those points are locked up to maintain those facilities. And as you gain ranks, you can increase the rank of the facility to be able to do more and more impressive things, but it's going to require more and more points to be locked up as you go. So each Bastion can get the 5th rank. Each facility in a Bastion can also get the 5th rank. When you first install it, it's worth 1 point, and you can improve each facility in your Bastion up to the rank of the Bastion itself. So a 3rd rank Bastion with say 23 points could have 7 facilities that are 7th rank, and then have 2 points left over. And then so with these leftover points, if you were like say making a suit of armor and it's going to take 3 Bastion turns for that armor to be completed, you could then take one of those Bastion points and lock it so that your successful crafting check to make that armor will be sustained and for the 3 weeks that it takes. You won't have to re-roll each week because you've spent a point to lock down that order. You now have less orders you can issue, but because you succeeded and resolved the complications, that can stick. So you can use Bastion points not only to gain rank by accumulating them to increase the rank of your Bastion, but you spend them on adding and improving facilities, issuing additional orders, and locking things down. Like if you want to issue additional orders, you spend an additional point to have an extra order that you can then issue to do more things. Each facility can only be issued 1 order per Bastion turn. So if you want to make like 2 magic items that require a workshop to create, if you want to create them at the same time, you have to have 2 workshops, which is fine. You can have as many of the same facility as you want inside of your Bastion. Each one requires points. So like you could have a way station that has like a teleportation circle in it, and you have to have like say if you have like say 7 points invested in teleportation circles, you can have 7 active teleportation circles at the same time inside of your Bastion. You can't get them until the Bastion's 3rd rank, so you have to have at least 21 points. But once you get to that 21st rank, you can just drop in a point to create the teleportation circle, and then you can do it 6 more times and have a ton of teleportation circles inside of what is becoming a way station. And then later, like, you can add planar portals and extra dimensional spaces and stuff, and these all require separate Bastion points. So that's the general idea of it. Each facility provides you specific benefits and improvements, like it makes it easier for you to succeed at specific die rolls, or allows you to make new types of items or make new magic stuff, recruit different types of creatures or hirelings. We've gone through all of that in the previous episodes. So today specifically, we're going to be working on Sabotage. When NPCs, when characters or NPCs specifically target a facility or order that's been issued and destroy and damage the bastion points that are sustaining those either those facilities or that order. Like if somebody's making this suit of armor, like maybe it's the armor of Rodimus, and whoever wears it is indestructible. You want to knock that shit down to prevent the big bad from becoming an immortal being, god of war or whatever. And so you would perhaps issue a command to sabotage the workshop and the orders to create that. So that's two separate sabotages that you're attempting to target. And if you hit the successful ability check to sabotage the structure, you'll deal damage in the form of bastion points. And if the amount of points of damage that you deal is enough to drop the bastion, to deplete the bastion, to deplete the facility down, so it's so damaged that it can't perform that level of task anymore, then you will have successfully sabotaged that facility. The workshop is no longer useful until they can get it operational again, and you can repair things once per week. So they could you've prolonged the completion of the Armor of Rodimus by an additional week. That might give your characters enough time to be able to build a plan to defeat the big bad before the armor is completed. So you can now wage a war against the Bastion that's creating that army by constantly sabotaging the resources and the facilities that are creating the army. While if you look at the last couple sessions, we talked about creating and commanding armies to attack bastions. You could then create an army to now lay siege on that bastion to disable, to like cut them off from getting supplies. So they'll further be delayed in receiving and being able to complete the armor, because they no longer have the materials that they need to be able to complete the task, because you've shut down their bastion, because you've shut down their facilities and that order. So you have all these different aspects and facets in the Bastion system that you can target to attack, and NPCs can do the same thing to you. So that's what we're going to be fleshing out the rules on Sabotage today. So if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Check out the books that I already have published on the DMsGuild. They all have extensive free previews. So just like the Bastion campaign book will when it publishes, if you want to check that out, you can see the artwork that I do and some of the design ideas that I have around how 5e game engine operates. And if you think that stuff is cool, consider picking up a couple copies of stuff that you like to encourage more behavior in the future. So I'm going to extract this folder alone, since this is where we're at. Hey Steve, it's good to see you. No Bastion for you. I sabotage you. You're sabotaged. I sabotage you. Settlements are also bastions in the system. Basically, a settlement is a facility of a bastion. A bastion, like the seat of government, is what the actual bastion is. And the community that grows around that structure is what becomes the settlement. Armies are also treated as bastions that are mobile and don't have but you can settle an army, and then it can unfurl all of its facilities to like harvest, like to slaughter animals to feed the troops, and fire up the kilns to repair the armor that got damaged in the last battle, and then they wrap up everything, and then they mobilize again. And depending on how large the army is, depends on how long it takes to settle and then operate, and then to unfurl, and depending on what kind of an army it is, determines on how far they can reach and travel each turn. And then we talked about establishing supply chains, which is a function of the trade order, to be able to connect resources from a settlement to a mobile army. I'm starting to think about, now that we have all these different components in place, like the trade order is used for any sort of bastion or settlement, a bastion or facilities or anything that are outside of a community. If a bastion is located inside of a settlement, then the settlement is generating all sorts of resources that makes the settlement a community. And so inside of that settlement, depending on how wealthy the community is, it will determine like the level of materials and items that characters can get access to for their bastion or just for themselves while they're in that community. If you're outside of a settlement, you have to, instead of using the maintain order, you use the trade order to create a trade route to bring materials to wherever you're located at. And if, like, once you have like a castle, like a keep on the borderlands, that's like maybe 100 miles away from the nearest duchy in a town. So a town is third rank. You have a hamlet, village, town, city, metropolis, and say the duchy is in a town, which could be up to 10,000 people. So it has access to third rank resources, which is like you can make rare magic items in that town. That's the kind of resources it has access to. So if you're in your keep on the borderland 100 miles away, if you want to have those resources available to you, then you have to establish a trade route that will bring materials to you, and you can export whatever it is that you're doing there, if anything, to establish that route. And once that route is established, you now have access to all the materials that would come in and out of the settlement that you're connected to. And an army is similar, that it has to have a trade route attached to it, but the army keeps moving. So the trade route could continue, perhaps needing to expand its reach, requiring more and more bastion points to be sent to connect and further extend the supply chain out to this army. And complications can occur where that supply chain gets cut. And now the army doesn't have resources coming into it. They have to resort to plundering, attacking settlements and consuming them like locusts to have the resources, the provisions that they need to feed their army, until you can establish a new trade route to have that supply chain reestablished. It's like if you conquer a settlement and take control of it, you can now use that as a hub to establish a new supply chain. But you might have insurgents that are attempting to overthrow your army controlling that settlement against their will. So you can see how geopolitics and real world war type conflicts can be easily narrated inside of the system, and it's all ability checks and basically like expending it's like expending hit dice to cast spells that and those hit dice is representing how healthy your bastion or your army is. As those points get depleted, your army becomes less effective. Your settlement has access to less resources because all the buildings are burning. You can't do all the things that you want to do with your facilities. And you can either do that through siege, where you have a huge army that's attacking something, or like we're talking about, sabotage, where you're targeting specific things in that settlement. Like if you wanted to overthrow a government is a type of facility of a bastion that creates the bureaucratic infrastructure needed to manage a settlement. So if you want to have a settlement, you have to have a bastion with a government that then has a settlement inside of it. The government is basically commanding the settlement. Whoever commands the bastion is ultimately calling the shots of that government facility inside of that settlement. And if you've taken over a settlement, you've effectively taken over that bastion and gained control of that government facility that's dictating how the settlement operates. So inside the settlement, you could have independent groups that are establishing their own trade routes outside of that settlement so that they can bring in troops and challenge and coup the new commanders of that government facility. And if you can take it back, that army that took control just lost access to their supply chains, because now that they control the government, they're stopping the feed of materials going out to that roaming army, and now it has to start plundering again. So you can see how like you can siege, overthrow, retake, and depending on what you need that settlement for is going to establish how other bastions and settlements surrounding the area are going to be affected by that interaction. And it's all through bastion orders and expending bastion points. So it's a pretty elegant system. It's really no more complicated than like a first edition character or like a third level character. That's basically how it plays, but you're not playing an individual character's personality. You're overseeing this collective group, this guild or fortress or wizard's tower or fishing community, or the sensates in Planescape, or like the mercy killers. These different philosophy factions. A faction can be framed as a bastion, where it has resources allocated across Sigil, and even on other planes, they might have outposts where their faction has presence. Those would be separate bastions and settlements. And inside of Sigil is one settlement. It's a metropolis. And inside of a settlement, individuals can have separate bastions that they're basically renting space. Like you give up a bastion point to rent property for you to establish your own bastion inside the settlement that doesn't have government capabilities, but can make use of the resources and materials that are available inside of that community. So that's how this all kind of curves together. I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff here briefly about this stuff, but again, we've gone through all these mechanics over the past 17 episodes, and here on episode 18, we're now talking about Sabotage specifically. So Sabotage can target sustained orders. Let's see, how do we want to word this? Instead of commanding an army to siege a bastion, or an army to attack, an army to siege a bastion or settlement, the Sabotage, issuing the Sabotage order targets a specific facility, sustained order, or target a specific facility or a sustained order, such as the lifestyle maintained in a settlement, as above. Instead of commanding an army to siege a battle or settlement, issuing the Sabotage order targets a specific facility or a sustained order, a specific facility in a bastion or settlement, or a standard or a sustained order such as the lifestyle maintained in a settlement, to be damaged directly. Carrying out, this isn't going to be the right language, but it's going to be good enough for now. Carrying out Sabotage. The rank of the saboteurs. Let's do it like this. Carrying out the Sabotage order. When issuing the Sabotage order, choose a specific facility or sustained order in the target bastion or settlement. Choose a specific facility order or sustained order in the target bastion or settlement. The saboteurs attack that chosen target. Attack only that specific target. Make a bastion check. Make a bastion check. Rolling 1d20, plus the rank of the saboteurs, plus the bastion die of the issuing, plus the bastion die for the bastion issuing the sabotage order. Yeah, issuing the sabotage order. For example, a third rank bastion issues the sabotage order to a crew of saboteurs of second rank saboteurs. The bastion check. You roll 1d20 plus 3 plus 1d6. The DC to succeed in carrying out sabotage is determined by the target facility, by the target bastion, by the targeted is determined by the rank of the target bastion or settlement. That shouldn't be accurate. It's determined by the rank of the facility or the rank of the facility that the rank of the facility, comma, or if is determined by the target. Let's do it like that. Target. A facility the rank of the target facility, the rank of we need to word it this way. If targeting a facility, the DC is determined by the rank of the if targeting a facility, the DC is determined by its rank. If targeting a sustained order, the DC is determined by the rank of the bastion, of the sustaining bastion. Rank. Bastion, rank. DC. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It's the bounded accuracy curve. Everyone knows the bounded accuracy curve in D&D. If it's less than a 10, you shouldn't really have to bother to roll for it. You can just do it. If it's and then nothing in D&D 5e24 is supposed to be above a DC 30. That's your cap. So that happens to work out on increments of 5. So magic items, common, uncommon, rare, very rare, legendary. Casting, researching spells, cantrip or first level, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. recruiting NPCs, like if you want like sidekick hirelings, up to level 4, up to level 8, up to level 12, up to level 16, up to level 20. So everything in the D&D game, the 5e game engine, not just D&D specifically, but the 5e game engine in general, actually has 5 rungs on the ladder from 1 to 20, or like level 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. Those are your proficiency bonus gains on your character. It's also when half casters gain levels, and it also is basically every 2 levels of casting that full casters get. All these things work in a 1 to 5 model. So if you start thinking about your games, your D&D games, in steps of, like, starting step is 1, end step is 5, and you got 3 steps in between. Like when I run a campaign from level 1 to 20, I can typically do it in about 270 hours, and I can keep the game interesting because I structure the campaign to change focus and narrative, kind of like seasons in a TV show, every 4 levels. So level 1 to 4 is your premiere season of a show, and then level 5 to 8 is your second season. 9 to 12 is third season. 13 to 16 is fourth season, and then 17 to 20 is fifth season. And if you've watched various shows, you know that it starts off interesting, and as you continue grinding, if the show has a chance to run its full run, regardless of how many seasons it has, it starts off with you getting to know the characters and the setting and the challenges and the environment of that world. And as the characters progress through their storylines, things get more complicated and personal. And at some point, if it's a good show, at some point you don't even care what they're doing anymore, as long as you get to watch them doing it. So like Battlestar Galactica, the revised Battlestar Galactica is actually a really cool, like, that's a great show about a settlement of ships that form a fleet as a bastion, where each ship has a number of facilities that all contribute to the production of the fleet. But when they have a complication, shit, we're running out of the lithium crystals or whatever. So we have to go mine this gas cloud for 5 bastion turns, so we can collect enough materials to convert that into antimatter or whatever for us to be able to fuel our ships. Fuck, Cylons found us. Now we have to fight the Cylons, or get the hell out of here. Like, these are complications that can occur. And meanwhile, the characters that are inside of that fleet are becoming more and more interesting, because you have an opportunity for them to be able to make personal choices and risks, fighting Cylons and arguing with each other and making these decisions out of character about what decisions do we need to make for our settlement or our fleet of ragtag ships as we're running away from Cylons, for instance. So you can really frame virtually anything that you can think of inside of this Bastion campaign model. It's just a matter of sitting, like, thinking your way through, how am I structuring this? What aspects of this show can be reflected in the Bastion? Like, even in the Supernatural TV show, they literally ended up with a Bastion that was like a demon fighting bunker with, like, magic circles and access to the other planes, and it had, like, Ouija boards and crystal balls and shit. It had a research library. Like, all the things that you would want to be a demon hunter were in that bunker that they got access to, and it became their Bastion. With all these facilities, you can easily draw one-to-one parallels inside of it. Pretty cool stuff. So when demons break into the place and they tear apart the magic circle, or they steal books from the research library, that's them effectively sabotaging either the research task that you had ongoing to discover information about, like, say, Beelzebub's true name, so that you could trap him in a demon trap, or, like, shut down the magic circle so they couldn't summon anybody at all. Anyway, these are things that demons could sneak into there and try to sabotage, to slow down the heroes from being able to defeat demons. See, that's how that works. So sabotage, rank 1 to 5. The rank of your, like, you can have a third rank Bastion with a second rank, with a second rank teleportation circle. So it would only take At second rank, it would only take a DC 15 to disable that teleportation circle. If the check succeeds, deal damage to the facility. If the check fails, no damage is dealt. No damage is dealt, and the saboteurs have a complication. So we couldn't destroy the Magic Circle boss because I don't know. The Duffer Brothers showed up and chased us away. Who knows? Let's see. Damage dealt is determined by the rank of the saboteurs. Rank, damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1d4, 1d6, 1d8, 1d10, 1d12. These are called proficiency dice. If you check the 2014 Dungeon Master's Guide under variant rules, it had alternate proficiency dice. If you're familiar with the Essence 20 system, G.I. Joe, Transformers, My Little Pony, Power Rangers, these are all done by Renegade Games. They leaned heavy into proficiency dice. Instead of using static proficiency bonuses, they always use proficiency dice. And there's a lot of fun variables you can use with proficiency dice. Like in the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document that I built, we use proficiency dice there as a reload die. So when you issue a command to fire a ballista, ballistas typically have a reload score of 2. So if I'm a 5th level character, I'm going to be rolling a d6 plus my command ability, like charisma or whatever I'm using for my ability, like say it's a +3 ability modifier. I'd roll my d20 +3, and then I'd roll a d6 because I'm a 5th level character. So instead of getting a +3 proficiency bonus to my attack roll with that ballista, I'm commanding a crew of siege minions that are loading, aiming, and firing the ballista under my command. So I issue the command order. They fire the ballista. I roll the d20 +3 because that's my let's say my charisma is only 14, so it's a +2 bonus there. And since I'm 6th level, I get the d6. So I roll the d6 and add that to the 2, and add that to the d20. And if I hit the armor class, then I hit. If I miss, I miss. But ballistas have a reload score of 2. Catapults have a reload score of 3. Trebuchets have a reload score of 4. Gift cannons have a reload score of 10. That's right. And so when I roll that die as the attack roll, if that ballista, if I rolled a 2 or above on the command die when I made my attack roll, the crew automatically reloads the ballista to be ready to fire again as part of the issued order. If I rolled a 1 on that ballista attack roll with my command die, the team failed to reload the ballista. So I now have to use more action economy, or somebody else has to use their action economy to issue the order to reload that ballista weapon. So like a trebuchet with a reload score of 7, for instance, a 6th level character it's impossible for a 6th level character to reload a weapon that has a reload score of 7. I can try at 9th level because I get a d8. So on a 7 or an 8, I can reload it. And by 17th level, I'm rolling a d12. So on a 7 to 12, I've got basically a 50-50 chance that every time I issue the order to fire a trebuchet, my crew will successfully reload and have that trebuchet ready to fire again. And then I can fire multiple weapons at the same time with one attack order, dealing multiple dice of damage, kind of like giving up attacks to deal extra damage if I was a paladin, for instance. But as I stack more weapons, the reload score increases because I have to coordinate all these guys at the same time to get them to fire together. And if any of them fuck up in the sequence, we now have to reset. Okay, we need to issue additional orders for you guys to get back online. So if I fire three ballistas at the same time, that reload score of 2 becomes 6. And now it's unlikely my 6th level character is going to be able to have them automatically reload. I'm now going to have to spend extra action economy on each individual siege weapon to have them all reloaded. It may not have been worth to fire all of them at the same time, unless I have enough characters giving up action economy to order separate siege crews to reload. And that's how Spelljammer works in that document down below, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. But that's an example of how using a proficiency die instead of a static bonus has a mechanical reason, and it helps lock in the narrative of how well your team is operating under your command. If you keep fucking up your reload die, it's like, this team just can't get along worth a shit. It's kind of like if you want to narrate a big speech to convince the king to let somebody marry somebody or something, then it's better for you to roll the check first to know how successful you're going to be, so you can change the narrative of whatever speech it is that you want to give. If you're a theater crowd kind of kid. In my world, I'm really mechanical, so I might toss in a couple ideas, or someone's like, "Oh wow, I rolled a 15. Yeah, I want to point out this, this, and this, but I'm not going to give a big speech about it." That's a narrative style. If you as a player like to give little speeches and stuff like that, roll your die first so you know what the result is going to be. So like if you roll a natural 1, you can give this great speech, and at some point you know you're going to have to fuck it up. So you say something super stupid or do something super stupid in the middle of this awesome speech that just completely blows it out of the water and causes a massive failure. Other people could be like, I guess while I'm doing the wedding pitch, I accidentally insult the groom. And now the groom doesn't want to listen to what we have to say. Like, it could be that simple. And narrative is your own thing, but rolling dice to determine results sculpts the narrative of what's happening. Just like if you fail a Bastion check to carry out an order, that you roll first to see if you succeed or not, and if you fail, it creates a complication. There you go. So let's see. Damage dealt is determined by the rank of the saboteurs, rank and damage. Because like a fifth rank Bastion could hire first rank saboteurs to go do this thing, because it's really easy just to find some chumps. It's like, hey, go break out the windows in that car and slash all their tires. Like, that's a real easy sabotage task to perform. If you wanted to, like, say, damage the reputation of Starbucks International Coffee, that's going to be like a 5th rank task. You're going to have to hit a DC 30 to even try to damage the reputation, and then the amount of damage you deal might be absorbed by their PR team. Like, they have they have 30 Bastion points. They just keep floating to spend to repair their reputation as it gets damaged. So you're never really able to keep them down. Yeah, a little blip will pop up on social media, but unless it becomes a sustained campaign that starts damaging their view of their stockholders, they're going to ignore you. And like, you're not doing enough damage to us to even make it worth a difference to us. So like, that's how you can frame that sort of idea. So damage dealt is determined by the rank of the saboteurs. There. When the amount the damage is dealt, see if the check fails, no damage is dealt. If the check succeeds, a facility has as many Bastion points as its rank. A sustained order has a number of Bastion points as detailed in orders above. Generally, it's the rank of the task. A saboteur order has a number of a sustained order has a number of Bastion points equal to the rank of the task, of the of the order sustained. Period. Let's see. A sustained order has a number of bastion points equal a facility. Or sustained order has a number of points when the sabotage order is successful. These bastion points are damaged, reducing the effective rank of the facility by the total. When the sabotage order is successful, these bastion points are damaged. How do I order that? When the sabotage order is successful, the bastion points how do I want to order that? When the sabotage order is successful, reduce the number of bastion points reduce the number of bastion points the facility number of bastion points allocated, that's a new word, allocated to the target. A facility, I can do it like this. Damage dealt is determined by the rank of the saboteur. So what do you do with damage? When it's damaged, you reduce the number of bastion points allocated. When the sabotage order is successful, deal damage to the target, reducing the number of bastion points allocated to it. The number of bastion points allocated to the target equal to the damage dealt. Period. Damage dealt is determined by the rank of the saboteur. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. We don't have a modifier attached to this. Like a lot of times you'll do like D4 plus 1, D6 plus 2, etc. We're not doing that with damage because we always want, because sabotage is going to be at most 5 points. It's highly likely that at 3rd, 4th, and 5th rank, if you target something, it's probably going to be completely disabled. It's going to get dropped to 0. So we always want a chance that a single sabotage order might not be enough to actually destroy the facility. That is in the benefit of characters that are targeted by sabotage, because you can effectively shut down operations of a whole bastion if you have enough saboteurs that are constantly attacking their resources, their supply chains, their lifestyle, the orders that they're trying to carry out and sustain, and the facilities that they need to maintain to carry out those orders. You can effectively lock down and freeze out a bastion from doing anything by constantly depleting their resources. So, a facility that takes damage reduces its effective rank by the amount of damage dealt, potentially reducing, we should work like this, dealt period, reducing a facility to 0 bastion points, renders the facility unusable until repaired. A sustained order that takes damage is immediately cut. A sustained order that takes damage loses A sustained order that takes damage can no longer be sustained and requires a new Bastion check to continue the order. Next Bastion turn as detailed in issuing orders above. Bastion points can be spent to sustain the new order issued, but can also be sabotaged. Again, for example, a 4th rank workshop sabotaged for 2 points of damage is effectively only a 2nd rank workshop until the points are recovered. Sabotage damage. And recovering from sabotage. So when you're under siege and your Bastion is just attacked in general, a successful attack from the army deals damage to the Bastion. And if your Bastion has, like, say you have a 3rd rank Bastion with 28 points, and you have let's make it 27 points for fun. You have 27 points, and you have 9 facilities, of which all are 3rd rank. So 9 times 3 equals 27 Bastion points. All of the Bastion points in your Bastion are tied up inside of operating facilities. If you are attacked by an army and are dealt 10 points of damage in a siege attack or an army attack, the defender, whoever controls the Bastion, decides where those Bastion points are taken away from. So in this instance, we have 9 facilities with 3 points each, and we just lost 10 points. I could whittle each. I could, like, say, reduce each facility in my Bastion down to 2nd rank, costing a total of 9 points, and then one of the facilities is going to be reduced down to 1st rank, because I have to double tap one of them to get to the 10. And if I had 28 Bastion points with 9 facilities at 3rd rank, I'd be able to burn the extra Bastion point that was just free floating and still take 9 points out. I could, like, say, disable 3 facilities for 3 points each. I've now spent 10 points, and the remaining 4 facilities are untouched. But in Sabotage, the attacker is choosing which facility or which batch of Bastion points are being attacked directly to halt whatever those Bastion points are attempting to do. Hence, Sabotage versus Siege. And so the damage that you're dealing is less, so that you might potentially damage but not completely remove a particular facility, for instance. So recovering from Sabotage, when you are when you're issuing a repair order, a recovery order to a Bastion, you'll roll the dice and you'll get a batch of points, and then you can just heal each individual facility or bring back online Bastion points that are lost however you want. But when something is sabotaged, you have to issue a specific order to that specific instance of sabotage to recover those points. So if you had your workshop sabotaged and the order to craft the armor of Rodimus also sabotaged, that's going to require 2 separate orders to recover those Bastion points. And until you issue separate orders to handle that sabotage in general, whatever isn't completely fixed is still disabled. So that's the difference. So recovering sabotage points. Each target to recover Bastion points. I don't need to word it that way. Recovering from sabotage. When each, I should word it like this. Each target of sabotage requires a separate order to recover the damaged points. For instance, if a workshop, smithy, and armory are each sabotaged for 1 point, for 1 bastion point each, if, for instance, if a workshop, smithy, and armory are each sabotaged, taking 1 bastion point of damage each, 3 separate orders must be issued. 3 separate recovery orders, must be issued. 1 for each facility. Because you only get so many orders. A 3rd rank Bastion has 4 orders. A 1st rank Bastion has 2 orders. Once you run out of orders, you have to start spending Bastion points to issue additional orders. And if you run out of Bastion points, you can't issue any more orders. And if you've taken more damage or had more things sabotaged than you're capable of mitigating, then they stay down until the next turn where you have more Bastion points and orders available for you to continue recovering. And you might be in an active siege. So you could be getting hit 2 or 3 turns, maybe even 6 or 7 attack orders every Bastion turn that you are now constantly spending points and resources to recover from. That's how you can have an ongoing, like a siege that lasts for years. Because the amount of damage that the army is dealing to the Bastion is an amount of points that the Bastion can recover the next turn. So you're never really making progress in knocking down the Bastion because they keep resisting what you do. So you can have a standoff like that, which is why you might want to start thinking about sabotage. We need to take out key elements inside of those facilities so that they can't recover so easily. If we can knock out their repair crew and their crafting ability, then they can't repair and we can slowly take them over. So now you're starting to talk about sending in kill teams to take out specific things, or like dig a trench underneath the wall so you can crumble the wall and break through that wall, for instance. So like these are different ways you can frame this idea of sabotage versus siege and what different roles they would play. You could just have somebody sneak in and burn your lab to the ground. Shit, we had the cure for cancer in there. It's amazing that somebody came along and burned down our lab right when we were going to go public with the chemistry that goes on behind that, and now all our notes and research is gone, and it's going to take years to recover all of that. You know, these are some of the narratives that get baked into what you're trying to do. So that's recovering from sabotage, and that's. I don't need any of this. I don't need this anymore. This has already been handled. We already talked about repairing as recovery. There. So that's the end of Bastion conflicts. So now we're gonna go and look at Bastion events and conflicts, complications. I'm gonna just put this at the top of the page because it looks good. This is the second draft. This is technically the third draft of the book. We have a playlist that says 5e Bastions, or 5e Bastion campaign. If you look at that playlist on my channel, the first 30 episodes is called In Command. And I believe I put those episodes out like in 2022, 2023. when we were first developing these ideas, without the Bastion system having existed at that point, and it evolved into mass combat, and which evolved into vehicle combat, which evolved into the Spelljammer combat and exploration siege system that we have linked down below. But then, after we published, the plan was to continue with the in-command mechanics for guilds and kingdoms to get to this place, but they announced the Bastion system for 5e24. So once they introduced the Bastion system, I cooled my jets and backed off for a little bit to find out what's the Bastion system going to look like, and if we can use that, or if we can curve what we're doing into the Bastion mechanics that they introduced in the 5e24 DMG, I think we're going to have a better product for people, because they're going to understand what Bastions are now. So we'll be able to take these geopolitical conflict ideas and express them through the lens of Bastions, which is what we're doing. So the first 30 episodes was before 2024, and we didn't know Bastions would exist. And then like the next, I want to say, the next 20 episodes is us taking the command system and then translating it into the Bastion idea. And now from episode 61 till present, now 51 till present, we've been going through a second draft to try to lock down the language and simplify it. There's going to be a third draft. I don't know if we're going to stream that third draft or not, but there will be a third draft to help structure, like when should we talk about different things, how should it be structured, sorting all that stuff out. So, but for now, we're almost done with our second draft of this. And if you're interested in using this system in your campaign to playtest it, I invite you to do so. Obviously, this is a read-only document, which isn't the most convenient thing for you, but if you join my Discord server, which is linked down below, and then drop down into the 2024 Bastion campaigns thread, you can say, hey, I'm interested in running Bastions. Hook me up, and I'll start working with you to figure out the frame of reference and the scope of which you want Bastions and settlements to be utilizing this system, and I can get you access to the material as a playtester, and then I can start asking you, how's it coming along, and like, what are you running into, and if there's any flaws, great. The concept of the Bastion campaign, I've been using it for about 10 months now. But a lot of this language that we're using here is new. I'm pretty confident in the math that goes on behind it, because it's not unfamiliar to what we already have in the Spelljammer combat and exploration system, but it is a different application to similar mechanics. So it's technically a new look at old rules. And that's, I'm rolling up my sleeves here because I'm getting busy. So that warrants playtesting. So I want to say in February, I plan on running Storm King's Thunder and Spelljammer and framing that campaign using the Bastion campaign system, where basically you have a Dwarven Citadel flying fortress that's servicing security and trade between different asteroid communities in Spelljammer, and your characters command squadrons of fighter craft and have Gundam mecha that you can fight Mega Kaiju that can damage facilities and siege the settlements, damaging the Bastion points of those settlements. So your job is to prevent the Kaiju from dealing Bastion points of damage to the community, because it'll knock their resources offline, weakening the collective. So the character's job is to protect the communities from space monsters, and inside and between defense missions, the characters can issue orders to the Bastion to do trade and defense and build up new resources, and like this, and you'll have basically like the players will have like a collective control over both the Citadel, the flying fortress, as well as each of the communities. So you can decide, we want to have this community specialized in like in vegetation production and animal production, so we have food and plant animal materials to build stuff with. Well, that just got attacked by a 5,000-foot squid. So it's down now, and it's going to be down for, like 4 Bastion turns. How do you want to adapt to that? So as the characters build up resources and defenses of the different asteroid communities, we can have just an ongoing evolution of how that interacts. Space pirates show up. Maybe Xerax's elves try to conscript your resources to like basically plunder you while they're trying to destroy another planet or something. Who knows? But we'll build a campaign out of it, like with random events that can occur that will flavor different things that happen to the asteroid settlements during this next turn, and it'll be on a weekly, like a turn-by-turn basis. Each Bastion turn is a week. Any complications arise becomes an opportunity for the characters to have a mission to resolve what that complication is, to then, once they finish the adventure and they resolve the complication, that order can now be properly carried out, and then you can move on. And then on a week-by-week basis, we just keep evolving the resources that come online, the growth of the population, the monsters that are attacking, how you get them resolved, what's left over from there, what needs to be repaired, and now what can we advance from there. And it's kind of like an XCOM game, right, where there's different points of interest on the map that become hot spots that you have to then take your carrier over to and disperse your Gundams and your fighter craft to go deal with the combat, whatever. Or maybe it's like they're mining iron from this cluster of asteroids, and there's Zorns in there that are attacking the miners. So you instead of flying around in fighter craft and Gundam fighting giant monsters, you would then go into the asteroid dungeon and kill or chase off or bribe away the Zorn that are in there eating the iron. Like these are things that I'm actively doing in my own Eberron Spelljammer campaign right now. They run an asteroid belt mining operation, and each area that they mine rocks in potentially create complications while they're mining it. They also have these conflicts that come up between Droam, Dargoon, Sarlona, Aranel, and like House Cannith. There's a number of different factions that are active in orbit that are also mining asteroids that poach, pirate, and sabotage each other. So the team is currently hating on Droam the most. That's who they had their first conflict with. That's who they decided they wanted to hate the most. So that's who they do most of their scrimming with. They're partial allies to Aranel, and they're trying to gain respect from the Dargoon war clans so that they aren't being flanked when they're dealing with Droam. But these are all complications that arise that can be dealt with combat, espionage, diplomacy. There's a or unless you're delving into a rock to clear out monsters from a mining operation, and that's just delving. So military conflicts, espionage opportunities, diplomacy missions, and delving. Those are the four general types of adventures that our characters go on in our Eberron Spelljammer Asteroid Belt Mining Bastion campaign. And that's been running for 10 months. They're currently about 10th level now. Yeah, it's been coming along really nicely. I'm hoping to finish the campaign in the next, maybe in the next 7 months, and then we'll probably do an Eberron Wild West adventure where the characters are have control of a gold mine in the wastelands between Braylon and Droam on the Iron Mountains. There'll be a gold mine that has a small little gold rush community that's sprouting up. So the characters are basically the sheriffs of that community, and then there's got the mine, and you've got the smithy and the smelter, and now you've got like ranches that are popping up. Like it's a gold rush town. It's starting to develop and grow. And with that brings danger and then monsters in the mountains. And we dug too deep in the gold mine. Now there's a monster down there. We got to take care of the Baylor. All that shit. That'll be the next campaign. I am a huge Eberron enthusiast. If you want to see some of my artwork, we're doing artwork for an Eberron adventure right now in the mornings, Monday through Friday. In the morning when I'm drinking my coffee, you can tap in and hang out with me while I do artwork here on screen. So this will eventually, when the Eberron adventure gets finished, we will then start doing artwork for the Bastion campaign book. We'll start with the book cover, And during that point, we'll probably be at a point where we can hand this off for an editor, like maybe around December. We should be able to get this in the hands of an editor to turn it around and give it back to us, like say maybe in February, for us to then start building the artwork out for this, for the facilities and armies and all that other shit. Build that all out. And we'll be doing that Monday through Friday in the mornings. And once that's complete, we'll publish that, and then we'll grab the next book and bring that forward, which will be the Martial Powers system and the 2024 Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule system for MTG campaigns. Yeah, it's all. We have a plan, and it'll probably take us through 2026, potentially into 2027, to finish all these different books that we have planned. And once we do, we can see. How's WotC doing? How's 5e doing? How's the DMsGuild doing? And how's my following doing? To see if I can potentially move into doing Kickstarters and Patreon stuff as opposed to DMsGuild stuff. I'm not sure where it's going to evolve, but I think we're going to find it's evolving into something by 2027. I think we'll have a clear path of what we're supposed to be doing. So in the meantime, we're just making more books and crossing things off of our bucket list of things that I've been dreaming of and wanting to do for years. And now that I have the technical skills to be able to do it, I'm scratching things off of my bucket list. And once those are all resolved, then I'm free to. My muse will free me up to do whatever it is that I please to do, or whatever she inspires me to chase next. Maybe it'll just be a ton of fantasy Bob Ross art. I don't know. We'll see where I go. But that was how Sabotage worked. That went really well. It's 7:40 now. We've been at this for a little bit more than an hour. So I still feel like I have some bandwidth left inside of me. I think I could probably do this for at least another 40 minutes, maybe less. We'll see. But we'll be back on Monday to continue this, regardless of how long we push on tonight. And tomorrow at lunchtime, we'll be continuing converting Dark Sun Unearthed Arcana subclass playtest content into the color mana system that we developed for MTG games, making Dark Sun a color mana system. And we've done all of them except for the Sorcerer King Patron, and so we'll be doing that tomorrow. And then on Monday when we come back in, we'll do artwork in the morning, of course, like every Monday through Friday, and then Monday night we'll continue with Bastion events and complications, because I probably won't finish these in the next 40 minutes, but let's get cracking. Actually, hold that thought. I'm gonna grab some hot beverage real quick, and then I'm gonna start the second leg of tonight's adventure. It looks like we have a steady group of 4 or 5 players for the Martial Powers game that I run on my Discord Saturday mornings. We've been running a mega dungeon from level 3. We're now level 8, and the camp. I'm intending that to cap when to finish somewhere around 9th, 10th level, and then from there we're going to. The plan is to start running Mage Tower competitions, playing basically rugby using 5e combat rules and the mana system we use for Strixhaven. So the idea would be to build teams of 3 players on each side, and to have the rules bolted down tight enough that you don't actually need a DM to play. So I would be a player. You basically make a character that's designed to have teammates to basically kick a ball through a goal. It's basically using the 5e combat system as the means of tactically positioning yourself and making shots at the goal. So we spent some episodes on that already, and I'm looking forward. Hopefully it runs smoothly, because I'd like that to be an alternative to people building 20th level characters to fight each other in an arena to prove which is the best build, because I've done a lot of those in my years. And they're not very fun, honestly. They're an interesting mental exercise, but it's just basically play testing a build. There's no real goals outside of it. But if there's like a sport with a bracket and an ongoing, like, adapting your strategies and the powers and spells that you prepare to be able to counter another team, I I think there's potential there. I'm kind of excited about that. It's a long shot. Most people don't think about using the 5e game engine for a sports simulator, but we can do it. We were demonstrating on stream last month that you can do it. And so folks that are interested in that are also welcome to join my Discord server down below, and raise a hand that you're interested in playing some Mage Ball, and we'll make that happen. All right. So Bastion events. At the beginning of each Bastion turn, roll 1d20 and consult. Let's actually put some. Let's put some words in here. Bastion events. Let's see. Let's see. Events frame. Events. Let's see. Events provide a frame of narrative for different complications. A narrative for complications that arise. Complications and opportunities that arise during a Bastion turn. At the beginning of each Bastion turn, roll 1d20 and consult the result below. Some facility benefits can allow you to roll more than one event per turn. These events can be new plot hooks the characters can pursue, or can be the source of any complication that arise. So here's our d20. This was built out of the Bastion campaign events that were originally put in the 5e24. Here's a percentile with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 options. Instead, we made it a d20. The lower the result, the worse the event seems to be. The higher the result, the more fortuitous the event is. But again, this is a frame of reference for complications. So let's look what these events are. We're just going to go through them. I'm basically just doing a skim on these to see if I like the vibe of them, if the language still feels like it works. We're not going to do a deep dive or edit on this unless something jumps out that could be corrected. Right now that we have like more language fleshed out, like for how armies operate, we might change some of the events that armies face. But there's these events can be new plot hooks. Events provide a frame of narrative for complications and opportunities that arise during a Bastion turn. There are separate events. The events that occur are determined. There are 3 sets of events listed. One for listed for listed. There are 3 sets of events listed. One for armies, bastions, and settlements. At the beginning of each Bastion turn, roll 1d20 and consult the result below to the corresponding there are 3 sets of events listed, one for armies, bastions, and settlements. There are 3 sets of events listed separately. One for armies, bastions. Yeah, I guess that's okay language. This is why we hire an editor. At the beginning of each Bastion turn, roll d20 and consult the results. Consult the results. The result below. Based on I don't have a general term for armies, bastions, and settlements. They're all technically bastions of one sort or another, but a bastion inside of a bastion, it's a little confusing. So, based on what is under command. Based on whether it's an army, bastion, or roll for each. At the beginning of each bastion turn, roll 1d20 and consult the result for each army, bastion, and settlement under that the characters have that are under the character's command. Some facility benefits can allow you to roll more than one event per bastion turn. These events can be new plot hooks the character pursues, new plot hooks that the characters pursue, or can be the source of any complications that arise. Okay, now we have that language established. You roll a d20. There's a general title for each of them, and then three separate categories. Siege and Sabotage. Army is... actually, let's change that to under attack. Army. A rival army ambushes. Rivals ambush the army. Attacks made with one extra bastion die. Attacks against your army are made with one extra bastion die. Bastion. Hirelings are assassinated or facilities are damaged, reducing bastion points by 2 bastion die permanently. So this is going to permanently destroy 2 of the bastion dice in your facility when you have this result. And now we know that we would reduce bastion points by hirelings assassinated or a facility is damaged. Reduce bastion points by 2 bastion dice permanently. Holy shit. That's horrible. Settlement. Source of material is damaged. Reduced bastion points by 2 bastion die permanently. That could destroy a first-rank bastion, because a first-rank bastion will have at most 10 bastion points. If it gets 11 points, it's now a second-rank bastion. So that's a natural 1. That sucks. So plundered. Actually, we should probably make it by. No, okay. Plundered. Oh yeah, because there's plundered resources, which is a 2. Army sundries robbed. Reduce bastion points by 1 bastion die permanently. Targeting lifestyle first. Bastion. Facilities robbed. Reduce bastion points by 1 bastion die permanently. Targeting facilities first. Settlement. Raiders steal materials. Reduce bastion point by 1 bastion die permanently. Unnatural weather. Troops and supply chain disrupted by natural disaster. Reduce bastion points by 1 die this turn. Bastion. Natural disaster destroys facilities. Reduce bastion points by 1 this turn. By 1 die this turn. Targeting facilities first. Settlement. Natural disaster destroys materials and facilities. Reducing bastion points by 1 die this turn. Okay. Rival blockade. Army. Supply chain is disrupted. Reduce Bastion points by once Bastion die this turn. Targeting lifestyle first. Bastion. Rival army prevents trade, harvest, maintain, and recruit orders until bribed. For one Bastion die. Settlement. Rival armies prevent trade, harvest, maintain, and recruit order until bribed for one Bastion die. For one Bastion. Let's do it like this. Period. There. That feels good. Some results. Add or remove Bastion points. When an event rolls Bastion dice, the size of die is determined by the rank of the army, bastion, or settlement. Permanently lost bastion points cannot be recovered. They must be regained as detailed. They must be accumulated. Cannot be recovered, and potentially reduce the rank of the bastion if the remaining points is less than the minimum required for the current rank. A rank 1 bastion that drops to 0 bastion points is destroyed, is bankrupted, or otherwise destroyed. A new bastion can be created as to replace the to replace it as detailed in creating bastions above. Bastion points lost during this turn are lost, but automatically recover next. automatically are lost. This turn, Bastion points lost during this turn are automatically recovered next Bastion turn. Bastion points that are temporarily lost. Are automatically recovered next Bastion turn. That's too harsh. Let's do it like this. Deal 2 Bastion points of damage. That's more friendly because you can at least recover those. Permanently taking away points, that's too mean. That would be really, really ugly. As a siege. That's not the right language. I just want to make it one line. Sundries robbed. Deal 1. Thank you. Deal 1 Bastion die of damage to the lifestyle of the army. Deal 1 Bastion die of damage dispersed among facilities. There. Raiders steal materials. Deal 1 Bastion die of damage. To of damage to the lifestyle of the settlement. The lifestyle, again, you've got Wretched, which is like a 0. Squalid, which is a 5. Then you got Poor, 10. Modest, 15. Comfortable, 20. Wealthy, 25. Aristocratic, is DC 30. And on a scale of 1 to 5 points. So, when you deal damage to the lifestyle of a settlement, that is reducing. Like if you had 5 points sustained to have an aristocratic lifestyle inside of, say, the city of Waterdeep, if the resources in the city were attacked and sabotaged and reduced down to 0 points left, it would then leave Waterdeep in a squalid condition where it would be basically open rioting at that point. It could recover the next turn, but you could severely give a black eye to the city of Waterdeep, effectively reducing the amount of materials available to nothing. The city would not be able to provide resources to any of the bastions or sustain any trade routes. It would immediately collapse. So that's a pretty severe result. But it makes for an interesting week. Unnatural weather. Troops and supply chain disrupted by natural disaster. Let's do like this. Deal 1 Bastion die. Damage to the army. Natural disaster destroys facilities. Reduce. Deal 1 die of damage. Targeting facilities first. Deal 1 die of damage, targeting the lifestyle of the settlements. More lifestyle targeting, but that's a lot of what settlements are about, being able to sustain a lifestyle for the community. Rival blockade. Supply chain is disrupted. Let's see. Yeah, so like that. Rival army prevents trade, harvests, maintain, and recruit orders until bribed. As a complication. Let's see. Rival army prevents trade, harvest, maintain, and recruit orders as a complication, unless bribed for 1 die of Bastion points lost permanently. Rival army prevents orders So in this instance, we are threatening to permanently remove Bastion points, but only if you choose to give in to the terrorists. That would be a permanent loss, but it's provoking a complication, which the characters can then make an adventure to chase the bullies away. Or to relegate that counter bully tactics to the Bastion itself to try to resolve on their own, or you just give up the points and there you go. Labor loss, troop mutinies. Lose 1 Bastion die of troops permanently. They must be replaced. But you can recruit more to replace them using the recovery action. Recovery order. Hireling strike or quit work. Lose 1 order per turn. As a recruit. As a complication. Lose 1 order per turn as a complication until new recruits. Settlement. Residents rebel. Rival Bastion forms to challenge the governing Bastion. Rival Bastion forms a government to challenge the governing Bastion. There you go. Desperate Travelers. Army. Refugees seek protection from a rival army. If protected, rival army attacks. Bastion. Refugees seek protection from a rival army or monsters. If protected, the Bastion is sieged by the rival army or monsters. And we talked about Drider, for instance, as a means of being powerful, high CR monsters that can effectively siege a Bastion. Settlements. Refugees seek protection from rival army or monsters. If protected, the settlement is attacked by the rival army or monsters. Unsavory proposal. Envoys request military assistance, which will create new rivals. Roll 1d6 below. Rivals or monsters offers an adventure hook that sabotages potential allies. Roll 1d6 above. Rivals offer trade for materials. Rivals offer trade for materials. Costing 1 BP. Materials forcing you to sustain a number of BP equal your rank, equal the settlement rank, or they siege and sabotage for 1 die of damage each. Period. That feels pretty good. Lost and found. Travelers request help recovering stolen caravans or supplies. As an adventure, as a research order defined. Travelers or commoners seek help to recover a lost item. As a research order to find. Competitive. Entrance to a dungeon or cavern network. To research as a research order to explore. So you can frame researching as exploration missions performed by, you're discovering information. That's research in general. So you can research a dungeon that's discovered and potentially get a rudimentary map and some information about the monsters that are inside of it. And you could either issue an order to siege that dungeon to kill off all the monsters that are inside of it, or it becomes a character adventure. If it's a siege, you'll recruit the army and then make the attack against the rank of the dungeon. And the rank of the dungeon is going to correspond with the CR of the monsters that are inside of it. Unless there's like traps and magical shit like that, in which it would correspond to the CR of the traps or the levels of magic that are active in the dungeon. Like the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, for instance. If you sent a small army to go raid that dungeon, that is a 20th up to 20th level adventure. So each tier of the dungeon would have a difficulty of 10, 15, 20, 25, and at the bottom DC 30. So your squads might be able to get through the first 2 levels of the dungeon, but as soon as they hit that 3rd wall, they can't hit that DC 20, and you're losing troops. You're just getting chewed up by Asarak's traps, and before you know it, you've whittled your army down to nothing. But they can bring you back a map of the first 3 levels and where all the traps are located, and all the loot that came from the first 2 levels that they were able to clear, for instance, which could be converted into Bastion points that can then be used to retain some of the magic items, like narratively retain some of the magic items with the Empower Order, or just be converted directly into Bastion points equal to the die roll of like a D6 and a D8. Those are the amount of Bastion points that you can potentially get. So you could frame an entire campaign of dungeon delving instead of actually going into the combat and exploration pillar of adventure. You could operate at this higher Bastion level and send NPCs in to clear it out. And if it's too difficult for them, that becomes a complication. Oh shit, we lost our delvers. They're in there somewhere. Now we have to go rescue them. And that becomes your mission. So that would become like a 9th level adventure. It's like, oh shit, looks like they got enslaved by a Lithid. So we gotta go clear out that nest. Otherwise, those Illithid are going to come back at us and try to take over our settlement, and then we're all going to become thralls before you know it, and that becomes a theme in your campaign until you can resolve it, for instance. Fun stuff, Lost and Found. Rival partnership. A rival army offers to aid in attack for a portion of plunder. Granting orders for Bastion points. I mean, I'm keeping that. Let's see. Rival offers to aid in attack for portion of plunder. For plunder. There we go. The plunder is an order that when you attack and deal damage, you keep those points as temporarily fuel for like lifestyle and stuff. Like it becomes a temporary battery of points that you can spend on stuff, but it will go away next turn. Bastion Rival Settlement offers new materials for trade. To aid and attack for plunder. Rival Settlement offers new materials for trade. Rival Settlement offers new materials. Adding 1. Increasing the rarity of 1 of the materials. Like there's animal, plant, and mineral materials that can be used to create and empower stuff, and they have a rank of 1 to 5. So if you make this settlement deal, if you take this, that rival settlement is going to give you one of those 3 types of materials. If you don't have that type of material available to you already, or if you do have all 3 of them, one of them is going to be upgraded to a new higher level of rarity. If everything's already at 5th rank rarity, then, you know, it's whatever. It's throw it over the pile over there. Rival Bastion offers new trade for materials. Call to Adventure. Opportunity arises to ambush rivals. Roll attacks with advantage this turn. I like that. Visiting ally offers an adventure hook. Reroll 1 to 6 on this list as the theme. Visiting travelers offer an adventure hook. Rerolling 1d6 on this list as the theme. It's like if I have somebody show up at my Bastion offering me an adventure hook, I'm gonna roll a d6. Let's see what happens. I rolled a 2. Plundered resources. So people show up and they offer me an adventure, and at the Bastion, it would be facilities robbed. Deal 1 Bastion die of damage dispersed amongst facilities. Offers an adventure hook. We want you to sabotage this facility, which could be like, we need you to raid this wizard's tower in the forest. Like, that would be an example of how that might work. Visiting travelers offer an adventure hook. Roll same as above. 11, Planar Rift. Scouts report a portal opening nearby with armies or monsters emerging. Bastion. Portal opens within one of the facilities. Can be researched to stabilize as a free facility. Nope. Can be researched to stabilize as a facility. Yeah, I like that. Portal opens within the settlement borders, which can be researched to stabilize as a facility. Noble Patron. Prestigious noble voices support for the Armies campaign. Granting 1 die of lifestyle points. Thank you. Let's see. Almost. We're going to get through this list and we'll be done for the night. Once we finish that list, we'll be on the complications, and then we'll deal with complications on Monday. That makes sense. Noble Patron. Prestigious Noble offers recurring adventure hooks. Roll 1d6 each Bastion turn. Prestigious Noble requests establishing a Bastion in the settlement. Offering tax equals rank. Basically, like if it's a third rank Bastion is looking to supply, it'll give you 3 Bastion points while it sustains itself there. Mercenaries. Mercenaries offer to band with the army if the sustained lifestyle is improved. Adding 1 BP, 1 if accepted, increase army by 1 Bastion die. Mercenaries offer to protect the Bastion in exchange for improvising a barracks. The total number of troops by the rank of new barracks created. They'll remain until the barracks is disabled. I'm being very trite with my descriptions right now, but I'm just trying to get enough language in there for us to get the gist of it so we can come through and be more thorough in the future. roll a Bastion die to determine the scale, the number of troops, adding their number to the population of the settlement. So like if I rolled an 8, let's see, roll plus rank of the settlement. That's the way to do it. So a third rank Bastion would roll a D8 plus 3, which could be up to an 11, which that's not a lot of troops though. Roll a Bastion die. That's the way I want to do it. Roll a Bastion die, comma, adding a number. Roll a Bastion die, increasing. Multiply the result by the scale of how do I word this? The rank of the scale of rank by roll a Bastion die, multiply the result by the scale of troops corresponding to the settlement rank. So if it's a town is third rank. And third rank is 100 troops, is a scale of 100 troops. So I'd roll a D8, multiply it by 100, and so I'd get anywhere from 100 to 800 new people joining my town, and they're all mercenaries. So I now have a fighting force of potentially up to 800 soldiers that have now asked to live in my community. That's not bad. That's potential. That's an easy way to get your settlement involved in local warfare, if that was the direction that you wanted to go. 14, contracted specialists. Army, unaffiliated spies offer reconnaissance or rival insights in exchange for a small reward. By expending Bastion points equal to the rank of the spies, gain that many additional research orders per Bastion turn to issue the scouting order. And we talked about scouting up above when running a military, when running an army. Scouting is basically looking for targets or threats within the effective reach of the army. Offer services if provided with a new or improved facilities to work. Hireling of a rank equal to the Bastion offers services if one of the facilities in the Bastion is if one or more facilities in the Bastion are created or improved. You can have multiple workshops. You can have multiple teleportation circles, like we were talking at the beginning of today's session. So this contracted specialist is happy to work with you if you provide them with facilities or improved facilities that already exist to incorporate them working with you. That's useful because when you add new facilities that require hirelings, you have to recruit those hirelings from a settlement that's large enough to support the rank that they are. So like if you want to get a third rank, like a crew of third rank armor smiths in your armory, you're going to have to go to a town because a village or a hamlet probably won't have, 3 third rank craftsmen that would be able to do that. Like a hamlet probably wouldn't have that unless the DM decides, yeah, this hamlet's special. There's a bunch of really good smithies in this community. Like whatever. Like dwarves might automatically have 1 rank improved level of quality, rank of craftsmen compared to the size of the community. Like a hamlet might have 2nd rank smithies because they're fucking dwarves. So once we get the thing built out, we can start looking at little quirky things like that. But right now we're still building out the basic math of it. Lock down that language first, and then we can start embellishing things with cool exceptions that gamify the thing. Foreign merchant offers to create improvised storehouse in exchange for foreign merchants offer to create improved storehouses in exchange for establishing a trade route with their origin, their homeland. And we talked about trade routes already, which is establishing a line of materials and communication between one settlement and a target, typically either another settlement or an army or a bastion, whatever. So in this instance, this foreign merchant is offering to invest bastion points into the settlement to create a storehouse if you are willing to invest the bastion points to create a trade route that connects this storehouse to their source of origin. Which could be very, like if you have just a little village that only has access to one type of material, like say plant materials, if this merchant wants to set up shop there, then they could potentially be providing for you an additional line of materials that you could then provide to your settlement. Monster Alliance. Monsters offer to assist attacking rivals. Ooh, gain a free sabotage order while in battle. Monsters offer to protect bastions in exchange for new improving menageries or stables. Menagerie or barracks. Monsters offer to protect the settlement in exchange for residents. Roll a bastion die at, let's see, monsters offer residents, period. Let's see, roll a bastion die at scale 1, which is 1 monster per die result. A number of monsters. The monsters increase the population by the result. The CR of the creatures are of equal rank to the settlement. So a second rank settlement could attract a D6 monsters up to CR5, that will then be considered part of the community. Like Driders, for instance, in a town. Keep talking about like a little Drider army. Maybe a little outpost, like a Menzo Branson outpost somehow befriends Driders, and they're now willing to defend and protect this outpost from an Illithid colony, using their Drider ways to do so, whatever. Brilliant Insight. Scouting reveals rival weaknesses or local resources. Gain a bonus Bastion die this turn. Gain a bonus attack order this turn. Hireling innovates new techniques. Gain a bonus. Hireling innovates new techniques. Gain a bonus Bastion die to roll during an order. Roll. We should do it like this. Roll an additional Bastion die for one order this turn. That's the right language. Holiday bolsters resident morale. Roll lifestyle check this turn with advantage. That's a good one. Revelations. Scouts discover gaps in rival patrols. Gain a free research order this turn. For the Bastion, hirelings make an unexpected discovery. Gain a free research order or plans this turn. Or magic or plans. Residents experiment with new technique to harvest. Gain a free harvest order this turn. That's cool. Divine blessings. Divine favors the heroics of the army. Roll an additional Bastion die on your next attack. Divinity favors the orders issued. Roll an additional Bastion die on an order this turn. Divinity favors the settlement. Roll an additional Bastion die on an order this turn. Unexpected fortune. Rival supply chain or trade caravan is captured. Gain one die of Bastion points. Gain one die of plundered Bastion points. Hirelings discover synergy between facilities. Gain one die of Bastion points this turn. Buried treasure hoard discovered. Increase the lifestyle by 1 degree this turn. Which can be sustained if you spend Bastion points on it. Rival collapse. Rival Bastion settlement or army is beset by plague. Finds rival with two dice of damage. Let's do it like this. Deal 2 dice of damage. To the rival. Rival Bastion bankrupt and collapses. Gain 2 dice of Bastion points next this turn. Allies pillage rivals. Spend treasure in the settlement. Excuse me, hiccup. Increase the lifestyle by 2 degrees this turn. Nice. Okay, hey, we got through the events. So these events are going to frame, create a narrative frame for the complications that occur when you fail die rolls. And obviously these are creating events unto themselves. So a lot of these things just have kicker effects that you guys get to take advantage of. But this will also create the narrative for the complications that occur when you fail an ability check. So, having said that, we've been at this for 2 hours, so that's a good block of time. I think I'm going to go ahead and put the brakes on it for tonight. I want to do some Eberron artwork off screen, and yeah, we'll be back tomorrow morning to work on more Eberron art for our morning coffee stream. We'll be back tomorrow at lunch to work on the Sorcerer Keen Patron for the Dark Sun Unearthed Arcana. And then Saturday we'll be playtesting the Mega Dungeon on my Discord channel. On Monday, I'll be back Monday morning to continue Eberron art. And then Monday night we'll be continuing with complications. So we'll be diving into the complications Monday night. And possibly finishing. I'm still happy. I've already looked over and I'm still happy with the equipment guide lists and the magic item creation lists here. These are all still good. So literally the last thing we need to do on this second pass is just finish up complications. And then our second draft will be finished. And it's a little haphazard still. The language needs to be cleaned up. But that's probably something I'll probably end up working on off screen. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna get into after that. We'll probably start working on Spelljammer stuff for a little bit after Monday. On Thursday next week, we'll probably start in on probably looking at subclass like Spelljammer subclasses and see if they're still valid, or maybe we'll actually just take a tangent and start updating the Spelljammer book for 5e24. There's some changes and repairs that I wanted to do, and potentially look at some changes in spells that might be necessary. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll just take inventory of what the Spelljammer book is doing. Just comb through it to look for. Now that I've been playing 5e24 for months, I think I'm a little more versed in it, so maybe kicking through the Spelljammer book will point out where some changes have happened to the book that we can go and we can revise so it remains relevant for 2024. That might be what we end up doing next week. I'm not 100% honestly. But hey, that's it for now. I'm going to bounce out of here. Thanks a lot, everyone, for checking this stuff out. I really appreciate people hanging out with me. Again, if you have questions, you can drop them into the comments or join my Discord community and ask me questions. I'm happy to engage. And I'll be back tomorrow morning. So y'all have a good night. Thanks a lot.